in all our rotor it's the same because we have here different firmware versions and different service pins. If you need the service pin, please write us an email with the version of the device, and then we can pass you the password. Where you can find the firmware version, go to the settings, and now you can read the firmware version. That's important for us. Where is it? Dalby. Şeyiniz açık. Teşekkürler. So now go to the calibration mode of the motor. Important steps, please show it. So set the RPM to 4000 and then press the plus key for 10 times. Or more. Press the arrow key, the green key, go back. And now we are in the motor calibration mode. Please remove the motor. Close the lid. And then press the start program key. Now we have to wait for a few minutes. The device makes motor calibration automatically. Make each different runs, for example, beginning from 500 RPM and go higher to 1000 in 500 steps. Now we have to wait approximately 5 minutes. Repeat in case of error 14, for example, you can do a motor calibration. The motor calibration runs automatically. We only have to wait now. So in this time, we can go to the rotor levet, to the inside of the rotor levet here. I have a second device. We have on the right side also the emergency key, like the other certificates. This is the emergency key. This is the hole for the key. We have only to press this one. And then the lid opens up manually. and then you can open the device. So we have here the front panel with the electronic complete. This is a spare part. This one is a CPU, very important thing. That's the brain of the device. You cannot make a software update. In case of a software update, we have to replace the CPU. For this, remove it and replace this card for a new or higher revision thermostat. And fix it again. Be careful. That's it. We have here on the front the lid lock. Behind the lid lock, you can see from this side here, it's an inductive sensor. We have here inductive sensor. They nose the lid, or they read the lid status. That the lid is closed. The sensor send a message to the device, and then we see on the display the closing lid, and if the lid is open, we can also see this open states on the display. Thanks. We have here the protection, liquid protection, and also this here. Important to install this protection like here, because we have here a hole and here a hole. We have to install symmetrical. We have to install this here. So we have on the left side the braking resistor. If the yellow one is the braking resistor. The valves for the airflow. The pump. This one here. The pump. On the back side, we have the flow sensor, liquid flow sensor, and this one is a imbalance sensor. Is also an inductive sensor. They're measuring the distance to the motor plate. And on the left side, we have on the back side here network connection for the network connection. With this connection here, you can set the serial number. But I will show you the setting of the serial number now. So we have here the power input board, and of course the motor here with the rubbing metal bearings. So now we go back to the calibration mode, sorry. Now the device shows the program is successful. Green is good. The motor calibration is good, was good. And now it's very important. We have to set the maximum RPM again to 3,500. It's very important. If you forgot this step, the customer cannot work with the device because the device, the maximum cycles of the maximum RPM of the device is 3,500. And if you don't change the motor speed limit, the customer cannot start the device. Set it again to 3.5. Set it, go back, and now we are in the motor calibration. The last step is choose a program, customer program, for example, decant. And now we have a program and the motor calibration mode, not the motor calibration mode. That was the procedure. I repeat. Go to the unlock with the spatial service pin, the device. Go to the settings of the device. Set 4,000 and press for 10 to 15 times the plus button. Press the green arrow key and then you get access to the calibration mode. Remove the motor, close the lid and make the test run. After the motor calibration, set the maximum RPM again. Choose a program. And that's it. So maybe one important thing. If you replace the CPU board, we have to set the serial number on the device. Very important, because the CPU board is without the serial number. How is the procedure of the setting of the serial number? For this, you need a computer, laptop, with the patch network cable. Connect it with the device, with the sequence. This here, connect it. And then open the file, open the program. We can also send this flash software. Open the serial number. So change serial number file. Now we have here 10.101. Check it with the device serial number. That's okay. And if you want to change or set the serial number again, enter the serial number, for example, 11111, press the start key, enter key one more time, and then switch off the device, unplug the device, switch on the device again. So now go again to the service user mode 7. And now we can check the serial number of the device. 1111. That was the setting. And now we can check, we can set or change the serial number again. Connect with the device, connected with the device. Open the file and enter the right serial number 001001 and switch off, switch on again and check it. That was the procedure of the serial number. I repeat, we also can send you the dispatch file for the storage of the serial number. If you need it, please write us an email and then we can pass it. So this was the router level 2. Now we can go to the next device. Devices centrifuges with the cooling. Now I will explain briefly the cooling system, the function of the cooling system. So we have in all our device centrifuges this cooling system, like all refrigerants or something. We have here a compressor. This area is the gas, the cooling liquid. The cooling is in gas. This is a hot area. It's not a liquid. It's a gas. Has a gas form. The gas goes to the condenser. The fan of the condenser cools the gas, and then it flows here in a liquid, flows here to the dryer, to the capillary tube, and then to the chamber. This is the chamber of the centrifuge. In the chamber, it's cooled, and then goes back to the compressor. Compressor, condensator, fan of the condenser, dryer, the capillary tubes, or the capillary tube, and the chamber. In all of our centrifuges the same. Now we go to the device, to the next device, the Micro 200. So the Micro 200 has a N control board and has the N plus control board, sorry. This is the N plus control board. Now I will show you the function of the N plus control board, the menus of the N plus control board on the device. We have here a device with a cooling system. This is a Micro 200R. R means for the cooling refrigerant. We have here for the pre-cool mode, the button for the pre-cool mode. We can change the RPM and RCF with this key here. With the select key, we can change the settings. For example, here the time, seconds and minutes, the RPM, the braking ramps, starting ramps and braking ramps, so the temperature, and then we can store our program on a program mode, on a program number. Okay. So our first menu for the entry to the first menu, please hold the select key for 8 seconds. In this menu, we can adjust the sound bell, acoustic signal. We can read the control. There's the control time, it's in hours. The version of the frequency converter. It's not important for you. This was the first menu. I repeat, press for 8 seconds the select key. And for the second menu, we have to press the select key for 16 seconds. Now we have here the imbalance. We have here as imbalance sensor on the bottom of the device. We can set it. I was too slow. You can set it in percent. It means 100% means standard, and you go higher, the device is sensible. If you go down, the imbalance is not so sensible. You can set it. That means check it, insert a white, check it, and change or adjust this value here in percent. As for the imbalance setting, and then the last one, service menu. We have to change the jumper position, remove these two jumpers here for the access to the service menu, the jumper 600 and 601. These two jumpers. Unplug it for your own safety. Remove these jumpers here. Plug it again. And then switch on the device. Be careful. And then, yes, that is a third menu. The third menu is the test mode. We also can check the components with the test menu. Check the display. Check the imbalance sensor. Just a second. Mach mal hier aus. Okay. Check the RPM of the motor. Turn the rotor. And now we can see the RPM of the rotor. Of the motor, sorry. Check the LEDs on the display here. LED 1, LED 2, 3. You can now check all keys. Check the arrow LED, very important. Where is the arrow LED? The arrow LED is on the electronics, here on this area. Be careful here. In case of an error, you can see the arrow is blinking or it's on. It's the arrow key, arrow LED, sorry. Check the sound bell. And now we can check the lid lock here. And now we can see it turns. The status of the frequency converter is not so important for you. Also, this is also not important. And important thing, the cooling system. You can check the compressor, switch on. Now you can hear a click. The compressor runs. That means it's okay. The mains heard. And we can check the cooling fan. The cooling fan on the condenser. Now we can hear it, it runs. Yes, this was the test mode of the N plus control board. Now switch off the device again. Unplug it again. Plug the jumpers in the right position again. And now we are in the standard menu. So that's it. That was the N plus control board. Now we go into the centrifuge, switch off. We have here in the front panel with the electronic board. Behind the electronic board is the control board. We can see here the spare part number. Behind this foil is the lid lock complete. On the right side, the motor, and on the left side only a micro switch. If you have an issue with the lid, please change it completely. It's easier for you. You have here on the right side the power input with two fuses. Also a nameplate. We have on the nameplate of our devices with the cooling. This here, that is the this is a cooling liquid R134A, and the 13 grams liquid cooling liquid is inside the cooling system. So we have here a little bit different water cover. Don't go up, don't go down, let's go up. We have here in the chamber a temperature sensor. So the motor cover with the sealing ring here is very important. We have here a cooling system. That means we have here different air conditions. And that's the reason why we have here rubber sealing for the protection of the inside of the centrifuge. If you install this sealing ring, please use thermostat as a glue and glue it with the chamber here. It's also available as a spare part. Now we have here in the back side, you can see on the back side, the compressor, but I will show you the compressor on a bigger centrifuge. The technical design is the same one. We have here on this area the cooling system, and on the front the electronic system. We have here on the lid also a nameplate with the important details like the reference number, serial number, and the manufacturing year. Now we go to our next device. The technical design is the same, only the different thing is the size and of course the type of the rotors. The next device is the Universal 320R. Please give us 5 minutes. We will prepare the centrifuge. So, next device, the Universal 320R. We have also a Micro 220R. The technical design is the same, like this both centrifuges. That's the reason why we don't show you the centrifuge today. Only different things, the size. But we also have the same control board, the same technical design of the front panel with the electronic board, the same lid lock, only the size is different. The cooling system is the same. That's the reason why we don't show you the Micro 220R. So we have the Universal 320R, has an N plus control board like the Micro 200 and 220. We have here a speed imbalance sensor, and that's very important. If you order a spare part, please share with us the serial number and the type of the centrifuge, because we have here different revision stands and the accessories, the revision, and we have different accessories, different spare parts for different revision stands of the centrifuge. The reason is the kinetic energy. On the old model, we have and the new one, we have a higher kinetic energy. And that means we have, for example, electronic with a higher RPM, and the old one has only, I'm not sure, not the same RPM like the new one. That's the reason why we need the serial number and the type of the centrifuge. So plug it, switch on the device. We have here the same control board, but a little bit different menus. We have here also 3 menus. It's off. Funktioniert nicht. Ha. So just a second. So, switch on the device. Press the select key for 8 seconds for the first menu. The same like the Micro 200 and 220 are. We also can set here the sound bell, the acoustic signal. Lock means you can unlock or lock these keys. We can read the control hours, the frequency converter, software, and the error history. The last error message was 3. Second last was also 3. 3 is imbalance, I think. Yeah. The hours of the device, 10 hours. That was the first menu. I repeat, 8 seconds for the first, 16 seconds for the second. But you can read this all steps also in the service manual. That was too fast. This is the value of the temperature sensor. It's not important. It's important in case of a maintenance. You can read this one in the service manual, what means 2, what means 0. The access to the function test for the universal and micro 220R is a little bit different. We don't need to remove 2 jumpers for the access to the service mode. We only have to switch off the device, press the start and stop key, switch on, and press these 2 keys for 16 seconds. Very important. Hold these 2 keys. Now we are in the select menu. What we can do in the select menu, we can set the offset values. Very important. If you change the control board or one of the temperature sensors, you have to set the offset values again. Oh, I was so slow. What is the offset menu? This is the difference between the real temperature and the measuring temperature. If you don't press a key for 8 seconds, they switch again to the standard mode. Now we have here a test menu. The test menu is the same like the Micro 200 software version. And so the imbalance, RPM, LEDs, the keys, sound bell, the lid lock, and so go back. Yes, this was a select menu. You can also set the imbalance in this menu. I think that's enough. Now we can go into the centrifuge. It's a little bit different. We have here only the front panel. The front panel is only with the control board, also with E number, sorry here, for the auto number. This here, you can change it easy, unplug it, plug it again, and fix it. It's also available as a spare part. We have here the electronic boards. On the Micro was the electronic boards. In the front panel, we have here the electronic boards directly on the device on a metal part. So very important thing, you cannot make a software update on this device. It's not possible. We have also the same technical design. The order number, the lid lock, it's only a little bit bigger, but the design is the same. The insert is also the same like the Micro 200 and 220R. On the right side was the switch and the power input with the mains filter. We have on the right side the limits for the condenser. This here is the condenser. And now we go to the back side. The technical design is the same. We have here the compressor, the nameplate. On the nameplate, you will find all relevant datas. We have here, very important thing, the temperature sensor for the condenser. If you replace this sensor here, please fix it again on exactly this position. It's very important. The position is very important. This black one is the fan of the condenser. We have here condenser and the starting relay for the compressor. That's it. And here, of course, the motor cover with the sealing ring. And this sensor here is also a temperature sensor, very important. In case of an error message with the error code 993, in most cases is this sensor here the issue, error code 93. That means we have an interruption in the communication between the electronics and one of the slaves, like this sensor or the imbalance sensor, but in most cases it's the reason this one here. If you have the sensor error 93, check this sensor. Of course, it's also possible that the issue is electronics or the speed imbalance sensor, but in most cases is this here the issue. So we have here a lid with a lid cover. If you fix this cover here with too much force on the screws here, you can damage the lid cover. Please be careful. Fix it only the plastic parts with your hands. So that was the micro 200 and universal. I think we make here a short break for 15 minutes again. And after the 15 minutes, we go to the Rotina and Rotunda series. So see you in 15 minutes.